Thank you for tuning in to another episode of How Did You Get There, the podcast where it's all about the journey. It's about the twists and turns that have brought people to where they are right now. My name is Phoebe and I'm your host. And today I have with me none other than Marlon Campbell. And Marlon, oh my gosh.
Buddy. I
Hi.
think it has been too long, and
It has been
clearly,
way too long.
clearly you're not aging like the rest of us, because if I go tell people says 20 years or plus that I've known you, and that's from college days, I'm not gonna believe. But
No,
black don't crack.
it's not cracking. It's holding up very well.
Things don't crack. Good to see
But
you. Good to
Marlon,
see you. Yes,
you are
ma'am.
an absolute legend. You've been
Allegedly.
no, you are an absolute legend. You are responsible for a lot of my memories at UE. And
Well, that I will take. That more take. Yeah,
and
man.
very good memories nonetheless. For people who are listening who you're not from the Caribbean, UE is the University of the West Indies and arguably the best university in the
Yes.
Caribbean.
No, it's not arguable. All right, it's not arguable. It's the best university in the Caribbean. It's top 3% university in the world, and these are documented facts, so we can say it. And so, therefore, it's really amongst the definitely the best in the Caribbean, and definitely amongst the best in the Western Hemisphere and the world. And no debate, no in that. They can argue with them grandmother about
Cannot be
you.
disputed.
It cannot be disputed. And it's a
So
place that we have very good memories of. Yeah.
absolutely. And Marlon, I have an introduction here to say who you are, but I'm going to flip it. Who is Marlon? If somebody said to you, who are you? How would you describe yourself?
It's always funny when people ask that, because we tend to, when somebody asks who you are, you tend to lean towards, giving a job description. And so, oh, I'm an attorney, I'm a
Absolutely.
financial advisor, etc. And the truth is that, you're a lot of different things as such. So for me, I job wise, and so I can list those, but I'm just a humble country youth who is trying to leave a mark on the world, so that when I do leave this plane of existence, people will say, all right, he left it a little better than he found it, via whatever means necessary. I work in finance, I work in entertainment, I dabble a little bit in politics and such. But I guess the proudest thing for me right now is being a dad. That's literally it. Now, remove everything else. I think my proudest thing right now is being a dad to my son. So that's it.
I love that. And we're going to touch on Marlon the father because that's not a Marlon that I know, but it's a Marlon that I'm
Yeah, it's
very
not a Marlon
curious
that
about.
I knew. I never know that I was going to have that version. To be honest, it was the furthest thing from my mind, even doing university, even coming up, and it's something a lot of my friends will say, "Oh, I left it till late." I left it till late, but everything in its time, and I'm glad that I'm doing it at this time, because I'm sure this version of me would is a better version than, say, the version that would have just come out of university years ago. Being a father, then, I'm far more open I'm like open minded in my approach and so forth, and a lot more patient, I would say.
Yes.
You know,
A lot of
so
fathers get a bad rap though, especially in our community, and it feels as though family and family values have been eroded somewhat. How did you change at the point that you looked at Judah and said, "Oh my gosh, this is me. This is a part of me, and I am now
um
responsible for molding this life."
yeah, I my thing was, right, one of the things that annoyed me a lot was, you always hear Jamaican fathers being
Mm.
spoken of as being absent, and and the truth of the matter is, yeah, this might have been so, I think, 2 generations ago, but it has changed, and and I vow to myself to be a part of the change that I'd like to see. I can't believe I just quoted Gandhi, but anyway, no, my views on Gandhi very controversial. But I was lucky in that my very close circle of friends that I have, Floyd, Garth, Otis, etc., were all great examples of what a
Yes.
father should be. So I didn't have a choice really, because them are the type that way if I was slacking off, them would have really, they're the type of friends who will tell you as it is and
Wow.
joking their side and say, hi, step up, shape up, and so forth. So I was lucky in terms of that. And in terms of community and so forth. And what we found, by the way, we actually started a podcast called Jamaican Dads, dad spelled with a Z, because what we had found and the experience we had had, oh yeah, Dennis Brooks is a part of that also, is that, you might remember Dennis, is that when we were becoming fathers and tried to find material on fatherhood, most things on
Nothing.
parenthood is written. Yeah, it's written from the mother's perspective and it's
Yeah.
advice to moms and so forth. And we're like,
Yes.
again, trying to be the change we want to see. We say, here, what? Let us try and create a community for other dads that they can, a resource place that they can find out whatever it is. And as much, we're in a lull right now, unfortunately,
You need
because
to
the
bring it back,
lives.
Marlon.
No, it happens, but the life, it's not really gotten way bigger than as big as we envisioned it, because you're dealing with some very, very busy people. Dennis is header comes for police. Floyd is a minister of government, and he's dealing with burials effects because he's Minister of
Yeah.
Agriculture. Otis is ranked in the industry we have, and so it's just a lot of busyness. But we really are trying our very best as much to do it, because it's something that we think is very important in terms of changing the narrative surrounding fatherhood in Jamaica, and hopefully by extension black fatherhood on a whole, because the only way we can make sure that it becomes a pass, when you're speaking about absentee fatherism or absenteeism in fathers, it's passed is by you making sure that you pass on very good values to your sons, especially the sons, in that
Absolutely.
way.
Marlon, I have
And
two boys, so
mhm,
I
yeah.
believe that wholeheartedly. I guess
Yeah.
for me, this
Mhm,
conversation about fatherhood and breaking that cycle of
mhm.
fathers being absent, it really resonates because I didn't grow up with my biological father in my life. And even
Was
after
there a stepdad?
there was a stepdad. There was a
All
stepdad.
right. All
However,
right.
however, I think we speak about fathers for boys, but even for
Mhm.
women, the
Yeah,
first man
woman,
that really
exactly.
shows you what a healthy kind of male female relationship looks like is your father. So when my
Amen.
father had the opportunity to be in my life, he still wasn't there. And what that creates, unfortunately, is this mentality that me no need no man. I can do it by
Mm.
myself.
We
And
need each other. We need each other.
absolutely,
Yeah, there's
absolutely,
some parts where
absolutely.
I know I've seen it with me and Justine and Judah at times, where there are things where it's definitely that's you. You deal you or we temper each other, and so forth, because he was
Absolutely.
bawling after losing a race um at his school. And I was the type was like, yo, bro, she was consoling him. And I'm like, yo, listen, yo, I saw it going on. You're not gonna always come first, but I always try for first. She's like, yo, even I need that right now with me. I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and him can talk about, and thing. And we have different stance. I have the stance that my child should not get no participation medal. Me not believe
Listen,
in that.
Marlon, I was talking about this
me,
at
me not
work
believe.
today.
Yes,
What
me not.
participation? I don't believe it either.
Yeah,
You
first
play
or
to
second.
win.
Yeah,
You play
exactly.
to win. And if
Win.
you have not won, you know that you put everything on the floor. And
Yeah,
that's how I navigate life. I
yeah.
play to win. And I expect my kids to do the same.
Thank you very much. You
I'm
understand? So
done.
I don't want that participation medal. I'm not encouraging mediocrity.
Thank you
And not
very
even
much.
mediocrity.
Thank you.
Even you life does not reward you when you
It does
don't
not.
win.
Marlon, why are we
You have to learn
singing
that.
from the same hymn? But life is not going to be like,
No,
oh,
it's
here's
not.
this consolation prize.
No, it's not.
Thank you.
It's not. It's not. But yeah, so we have to navigate that. But anyway, back on track. Sorry, because
Back
we
on
could stay
track.
here
We're
and
gonna
chat
we're
for
gonna go
like
off on a tangent.
hours. Yeah, we can,
We're
we
gonna
can, we
we'll
can.
keep each other honest in terms
Yeah.
of in terms of how you parent then, because I would say that I've learned a lot of my parenting styles and even my values were shaped by my mom. because she's always been the dominant person in my life. But of course, I looked at things and I was like, some the things the way there. I'm not gonna do it that way. What are the things that you took from your parents, and what are the things that you thought I'm gonna discard those things?
Um, Physical punishment. I don't hit my child. But me, I will tell. Oh God, my parents don't. Them read the Bible and them read one little part about those spare the rod and spoil the child, and them read it wrong because I know so the Bible really not tell you. You understand? It's not really that. I do not use physical punishment at all. And as a vow I made, I do not hit my child. I think that we can have that conversation about it in terms of how you correct things otherwise. Another thing is that I allow, for me, yeah, and I think my parents did a lot of that too. What I took from them is that they allowed me to learn. They never coddled me with a lot of things, and I don't do that with my son. Like, and he's fiercely independent. I realized that from when he was small, we allowed him to, run up and down and so forth. We in Kingston, it's not country, but sometimes I'm ready to fling off him crocs and run run down outside. Allow it. Allow kids, allow him to get him to do him drop them and chip up his knees if he need to and so forth. Because I think children need to experience that and all. And so from my parents, I definitely took that where, give you space to discover who you are and to be about it. The thing is, with my parents, sometimes you discovering might you might never get a bus ass because you overstep. So what I try not to do is attach bad memories to anything we do. So if he's trying to be independent and him go in the fridge and he's 5 and like taking out water. I remember just an incident the other day. He was trying to and he spilled because he's trying and he spilled. I'm not going to cuss about that because he's trying to learn, Me know that might have ended up with me get a beating. Why you pick me here, sir?
Yeah.
Why But I learned, wait up. I mean, it's water. You can't try up the floor. And even better, I took the opportunity to say, hey, you spilled anyway. Give me this. Hold the cup. I'll pour the water for you. Take it. But before you have the water, please go and try up the one that you spilled.
I love that.
So there's a lot of learning for him right there. We're not going to attach a bad memory to it, to you spilling water because you're trying to pour it for yourself, and at the same time know that you're responsible for your actions. You do that, you wet up the floor, you have to dry it up and thing.
Yeah.
Dry up as best as he could. I mean, I still had to go and do it after, but he knows. So that's what I'm gonna try though.
And then thinking about Judah, because you're looking at this child who's going to one day grow up to be a man with his own family. When you look back at the child that you were, what kind of child was Marlon? Are there any parallels between Judah and Marlon?
Yes, and I will not hope his mother's get dead for me say this actually, because I go to pick him up and it's bye Judah, hey Judah, bye Judah. Why are you a popular 5-year-old? Why are you so popular at school? Why are you getting invited to like just about all the birthday parties, even from older kids, teachers, etc. All of that. He is Mr. Personality, Mr. Popular.
Okay,
And
he's your child.
I said
He's
to
your
his
child.
mother,
I'm done.
I said it
I'm
to
done.
his mother. I was saying to his mother. But then the curious thing, Phoebe, is that he's never seen me in that mode.
So you
He
were
hasn't.
always like this because everybody knows you.
Yes.
Everybody and them granny know you.
Yes. I became like that because I was not afraid to talk to people, and from a little may I take things to school by myself and everything, because it was a way safer Jamaica, and it was countryside, so you could do that. You really could run that risk. Me growing up, my common entrance. I'll give you a story. I went to a school called Belfield Primary. Um, I lived in Porus at the time, and every morning there is not a time I can recall paying bus fare to school, because when I come out in the morning, something will pick me up and think. I have a bunch of friends. There was this bus named Triller. We used to run go. As Mandeville Triller is no, it's Sav Triple years ago. There was this big confidence bus with a conductor named Fatty. There was this Excelsior truck. So there was this fleet of different vehicles who, when I come out in the morning, forgot to him to go up to like the foot of Belfield, Long Hill, forgot of Belfield, some would pick me up. And some would pick me up when I come down off of the hill and bring me home. And then to go up them, there's the next bus, Buddy Bye, I remember that. To go up, I'd probably go up Long Hill and walk them down. My common entrance there, when I got my results and I came down, it was the confidence bus with Fatty that was there. That Charlie picked
Pick up
me up.
yourself, Fatty.
Yeah, man, pick up. I wish I could reconnect with these people, but I'm talking 5 years ago. We're talking 35 years ago.
Yes.
So I don't even know if some of them are alive. I'm sure some passed. So I come on the bus and Fatty look for me, and bus is quiet, and Fatty's like, "You pass." I'm like, "Yes." She turned, "Him pass." The whole bus, yeah. So this is it. I had this community from I was growing up who I was their kid that they adopted and everything. Yes, ma'am.
In that vein, how do you temper it? Because how do you separate the people who are authentic, the people who are genuine, from the people who you're just having those transactional interactions with?
I mean, for me, well, personally, I know who my friends are. I know who my friends are. I know, and
Yes.
and especially in recent years, it got very cemented as to who that very close circle are, and that literally are the same guys that I do Jamaican dads with: Floyd, Otis, Dennis, Chad, and there are people like that, Garth, that core. I have an ex-friend, Lauren, well, a couple of people. So I know who my friends are, and I understand
Mm-hmm.
that when you're dealing with people, at the end of the day, people are honestly innately selfish a lot of times, and not even, I
Yes.
wouldn't say selfish. People are about doing what they need to do. So,
What serves
um,
them?
yeah. So you just is this morning is actually last night. I was, a friend of mine. She told me of a situation, and I said to her, so when you go through life, you just have to be cognizant that there are persons that are going to want friendship from you, but not friendship with you. And I know I deal with a
Mm.
lot of that, people who want friendship from me because for whatever perceived perception I have, but not necessarily friendship with me. So for me,
Yes.
generally, I have to deal with a lot of people, but you see that core that when I think in recent years I had some situations where I really need my friends, those that rallied around and stay, them say, them reassure me, say these are your core friends and everything. I'm gonna say you don't have space for new friends, 'Cause I'm gonna say I don't do that no new friends thing because every old friend I have was once a new friend. So so I don't say, oh, no new friends. But
Yes.
at the same time, you're not going to be a new person and then get put right in at the very core so quickly, and
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and I think
I
you know
find
where you
that
are.
really fascinating, though, Marlon. I find that really fascinating, Marlon, because I know personally, having lived in Jamaica and then moving to the UK and perhaps life changing, I have lost a lot of connections. How have you, and with you, you've had the same friends since I've known you. So if you look, Otis has always been
It's
there.
been there, Floyd, got
Floyd's
everybody.
always been
Yeah, it's
there.
been there.
Garv's always been there.
Always
You used
been
to
there.
be
Yeah.
around Billy as well.
Yes, Billy is in and out of the country as such. The
Yes.
truth is, we I don't think we interact as much as we used to, but everybody
Mm-hmm.
know it's still good. It's still love. It's just that he's physically away more times, so it's
Yeah.
still love and thing. And I've added a few new persons. I think like if I'm talking about me and a friend of mine that passed a couple of years ago, Andre Burnett, we got really close. He was actually godfather to my son, so that's how close
Mm-hmm.
we got. Dennis is godfather to my son. That's how close we got later.
Yeah.
But each of these persons, whoa, Jesus, I'm really sound like I'm not a new friend for real. 'Cause everybody
But
has
how do you
spent time
maintain
together.
it though? How do you
um,
maintain it as life changes and as people go through different cycles in life?
because I think we all understand. So here what? If you need me, call on me. We might not always get to speak all the time, right? Because people do get busy and life become busy. Every one of these friends that I call are family men, you know, they have kids, they have businesses, them have life for do, all of them. So you have to understand, say, your friendship might not be high maintenance, but it needs to be high quality, because as it now, you see,
Yes.
Floyd have the thing where I'm deal with right now. So you know that happens. I'm sure every one of us did give him a shout and say, youth, hey, you know, handle it and support, and sorry about all of this is happening, and and done. It don't need to be high maintenance. You just know say it need to be high quality. Auntie. So when your friend call on you, and your friend need to know that you have a wide open door for them. So when they call on you, you're like, okay, I'm there. But you should also understand, say, hey, a month passed, 2 months passed, and we don't really talk, as in really talk. We might, like a one picture or shot a one message. It's still love. Nothing has changed. And I think that is it. All of us understand, say, yo, we're busy, we have a whole lot of things to do. And I think for us, because over the years we have a lot of times we have things doing with each other, whether or not it was when we were doing music together or now we're doing Jamaican dads, we just because of that are forced to actually see each other. So it does help. But we know, say, if tomorrow we stop doing all of those things and 5 months pass, it's still love. And they
Yeah.
have more than proven their friendship. And I think I'd hope that they'd think that I have proven mine over the years. Yeah.
And you mentioned music, and
Hmm.
that's how you got the name Marlon Music. Some people just
Music,
know you as
yeah.
Marlon Music.
When I tell them, they're like, "Oh, wow,
Yeah, because you've been
yeah,
you've been doing this entertainment thing for a long time. But a lot of
yeah,
people might have aspirations to get into entertainment. So you've done the party scene, you
hmm,
have you've hosted parties as well. You
yeah,
were the junior spokesperson for tourism, culture, and entertainment. When I was
entertainment,
at university, you were in charge of entertainment,
entertainment,
arts, culture
CAC,
as well, CSC at
yeah."
at UWI. So you've always been in that space. For people who aspire to go into that space, what is that process like?
Just first of all, make sure that you're slightly not sane, because it works. Just know, it is. It has to be a passion. It has to be a passion. It has to be something that calls you all the time, because it is not the easiest road hunting, and it a lot of persons think that it's such a quick path to making money. It really isn't
Yes.
sometimes. If I tell people that we did so many quite a few musics before we started seeing any form of profit, and like even in Jamaica, most times when you're going to an event, you're gonna do it 2 3 times before you actually start to some turnaround and thing. Um if 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 it's if it's something that you constantly think about and you constantly want to do, I say give it a try. Give it a try. Actually doing something will let you know whether or not the bug is actually real, or that, because you're going to face it's it's tedious. You see, here's the problem. Talking about even the CAC back at campus, people saw Inti Thursdays and so
Oh,
forth,
stop a
and
second. Stop a second. Because you are assuming that everybody who's listening knows what
sorry.
Integration Thursdays, what it was.
Alright.
So
It
every
was.
Thursday there was this party called Integration Thursday, and when I tell you, there was nothing in Jamaica that could even compare to it, because we had the biggest artists passing through.
Yep.
Usain Bolt, before he was Usain Bolt, would pass through. I mean, you had people who did not go to UWI who would pass through Rumblood. You
Pastor.
know, you were at UWI every Thursday. I had never come to UWI. There were so many people that would just be there. The whole of UTech would come. It was a
Mhm.
vibe. And when I tell you, the
Portmore,
music
CMU,
was,
everything.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So, anyways,
And
people saw Integrated Thursday and
yeah, yeah, and that was, honestly, that was literally the tip of the iceberg. That was the culmination of a lot of work. That
mhm,
was probably it was probably 5% of the role, but it was the most seen, and that's what people see. So
yes.
people see the end
Mm,
results, and they don't know about the time when you sit down on a JNS and negotiate getting the funds for it, or whatever, Appleton, whomever, they don't, or you call, make sure say the 10 suppliers are on time with everything. Me and Bellamy going over how the poster look. Okay,
Andrew
this is the design.
Bellamy,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. This is the design for the poster because he designed them all. When we walk through, me and Billy, I walk through you. We put them up at night time, things like that. Nobody sees that, but they see the end product where Bunty a show up and I come sing, or
Oh
Beanie a
my
pass
gosh.
through,
Oh
or
my
Sizzler
gosh.
run in. So
Oh
they see
my
that,
gosh.
but them
It
don't
was a
see.
vibe.
Yeah, it was a vibe. You see me say and thing, and so people, and that is it with entertainment. A lot of persons looking in, they'll see the end product, but don't realize that these 6 hours that you get on a Saturday night or a Friday night is the end result of can be 3 or up to 6 months work, can be even longer, because when you have like a
Yeah.
massive show, like let's use Carnival in Jamaica. Carnival in Jamaica, when it finishes in generally April, as it finishes in April, the people
The
and probably
planning
get
starts again.
like probably get 2 days to stretch and sleep and say, okay, cool. And then you start plan again. It's another, almost 12 months of work. So people see end results a lot with entertainment, but don't understand the process. So I'd have said
Yeah.
to you, do it. And if the process doesn't drive you crazy, then maybe you have a future in it. And,
And you also said that people saw music when it became what it was, but
mhm.
you had a couple of times when you did it and there was nothing.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, no,
you couldn't see the value in it
yeah,
really. Why did
yeah.
you
I mean,
continue then? Why continue?
because
So if you're doing it and you're not getting anything out of it, why
really,
continue?
because one, we believed in the product. We knew that it not being brand new to entertainment, we already knew that there is a process to where it becomes profitable, so we were prepared for that. This was the planting stage, when we those first 2 or 3 where we don't see the money. It's the planting stage. And entertainment wicked enough. Entertainment will do just enough for you to not give up on it. So you have a third one and you're like, yo, we never make no money, but we're so close. They're like, let's try it again. It's like that. So because we knew the product we had, and we just kept plugging away at it and thing, and each at a time, I think when you do events, you learn things along the way
Absolutely.
that help you to make it better the next time. Like right now, I can plan something in my sleep. I
I
can
know
I
what you
can get
mean.
up. I can just like boom boom boom. This is what we need. This is who we need to talk to. This is who that bam bam. Call so and so. Get it done and all. But even at this stage, I am prepared. If I'm doing a new event, I'm prepared to not make anything the first couple of times, because that's
Yeah.
the nature of the business. And
So if you love entertainment so much then, because I can see you love everything that you've done has had an
yeah.
element of entertainment in it. How
Mhm.
does somebody who is so, I don't know, the social butterfly, the person who brings people together, connects people, creates experiences, why end up in insurance? And I asked this question, Marlon, because I work in insurance. And I know insurance in Jamaica and insurance in the UK are
Yeah,
different. But
yeah.
insurance in the UK, it's not considered fun and it's definitely not considered sexy. So why does Marlon then get up and say, you know what, I'm going to go this route and I go into insurance?
Um. Well, Chris Law presented the opportunity to me years ago. I remember when we first spoke. Man, we talked 2009. Right? He had just gotten his unit, and he asked me, because I think Chris went for people who were who found it easy to talk to people. You
Yes.
know, he went
But
for those
insurance
people
is
who
a
were,
people game, though. Insurance
yeah,
is a
yeah,
relationship game.
yeah, and he went for people with networks already, because at the end of the day, in all sorts of sales, you need to see people. You have to see the people, see the people. That I think that is the formula with sales.
Yeah.
You see more people, you have conversions into sales. That's it. You see more people, even if you can't sell, somebody want buy. And I think Chris worked with that. So he went and got. I didn't go at the time because I was in my cushy, very, very nice government job. I had my money guaranteed every month. My all right, me I pay off my little student loan, whatever. Me have a little place, a little flat, me I go and live, you understand? And thing, I stayed, me I try do my events and whatever. So I was like, I want to give up this. I'm sure about for this, that I'm unsure. And that idea wasn't even planted in my head by me. It's somebody who I look up to, who I spoke to about whether or not I should do this, who said, no, why you don't give up? Sure, you remember pension and health and rate, you give all of that for this, for unsure. But what I didn't see at the time, which is what I tell, because there's no base. What I tell the youngsters coming in the business right now, when they said to me that there's no base, I said there's no ceiling either. So why are you thinking about down when you should be
Wow.
thinking about up? So I
Wow.
don't. When people come to insurance, I'm like, when I talk to persons and I get those questions, the ones who always said to me, "Oh, there's no base," 9 out of 10 times I was like, "Oh, this person is not going to. They don't get it. They're probably not going to last in the business." The ones who are excited about, "Yo, what you mean say anything we make a mind?" Those they make it in the business because we're not thinking floor, we're thinking ceilings and so forth. But I wasn't thinking ceiling at the time. I was thinking floor, so I didn't do it. So I went in. And what I found, because I went in it in 2011, and what I found, Phoebe, is that, hey, I like this. I like it's. I'm meeting people. I'm talking to people. I'm sharing things with people, and and I'm helping. So it actually for me, it was almost like how for me when I do entertainment, it is the point is to put a smile on people's face. I make them feel happy and take a little worry off of them shoulders for a couple of hours. With insurance, I'm thinking I'm taking worries off of your shoulders for a lifetime. That's
Security.
what we're doing. It's
Yeah.
security. So for me, it wasn't even so different. Me still have to interact with people and have to and I always tell people that for me, insurance and events are the same because I am selling you something intangible. I am selling you on the idea that I'm going to give you a good time when you pay me your money and come on my party. I'm promising you that I'm going to give you a good time. With insurance, I'm promising you that I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to take care of your family or whatever if needs be. So it's the same intangible that
Yeah.
I'm presenting to somebody. And I went there with the intention of staying for 3 years. That's why I said to myself, I'm going to do insurance for 3 years
And
while I
that was in
sort out.
2011, right?
Oh my God, I got my long service plaque right now. I think my long service plaque is somewhere over there, it's not a house. I didn't. I If you'd asked me in 2010 what I'd be doing in 2024, I would have probably told you that I would be hosting a couple entertainment events because what I had done briefly between after leaving government and going into Sagicor, what I had done was just more like I would call it a concierge type of business for entertainment, connecting people because I know people and I figure
You know
how do I
everybody.
make how do I make knowing everybody pay me, and maybe there's still time to do it because I remember there was a company, a telecom company that came to me at the time. There were things that they were gonna have some road shows in 12 of the 14 parishes, but they needed music for it. So as prime example was like, okay, I said, who would you like? Who are the persons you'd like? And they'd be like XYZ. And I said, all right, let's work with this popular setup. I don't want to call nobody name as such, but so as me going to them and asking them to do this gig, they would give me a price. Say for example, and British people don't be scared that the figures are going to call. They'd say, okay, we do it for 30,000
Just
per.
divide it by 200.
They would say, okay, we do it for 30 at the time. We do it for 30,000 per show, right?
Mhm.
If they had if the company had gone to them directly, the company would have probably gotten a bill of 80,000 per show. So
Absolutely.
I then go to the company and say, I'm getting this for you for 50,000 per show. So they feel like they have saved. They're doing because me and them good, and I make
Yeah.
it in the middle. So that was what I was doing for near 2 years, year and plus and thing. But it was so up and down. That's why I ended up saying, maybe I got to give that insurance thing a little try whilst
Yeah,
business
absolutely.
settle itself.
And interestingly, because you've got connections to insurance, but you also have connections to politics. So I'd love your take on
Yeah.
in the UK, the insurance industry is really heavily regulated. The entire financial industry is heavily regulated. In Jamaica recently, we've had a lot of stories coming out about
Mhm.
people putting their hands in the kitty, if you may. Even Usain has lost money because his money has been tampered with. What is your take on how our financial institutions are regulated in Jamaica?
Um, they're actually, here's the thing, the fact that you're having these stories is, I'm gonna say it's a good thing, because it's
Okay.
because of the regulations and the checks and balances why a lot of them are discovered quickly.
Mm-hmm.
With Usain's case, I don't know all of the details, but it did come to light. But you've had cases where money, where if there's any misappropriation or so, and thing, it's caught pretty quickly. And I would
Mm-hmm.
say it's because of the regulations and the checks and balances. So that's actually a good thing. The system, you can't cost the mousetrap. If every day you go there, you see a mouse in it, it means that the trap at
I
work.
hear that, but I guess my question then is, because I like that. You can't say that
Yeah.
about the mouse trap, but is my house already infested with mouse? Is there an
Yeah,
entire,
yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
How many got through then before the traps were in place?
Yeah. And what is happening? Because to our credit, we were moved off of the grey list recently. You
What's
understand?
the
We're
gray
that gray,
list?
the gray list that say, like, financial transactions. I'm trying to put it as layman as possible. Basically, financial transactions in Jamaica, or coming out of Jamaica, have to get extra scrutiny.
Yes.
And this, that has happened because a lot of the companies here, from the central bank right down, and all financial institutions have done so many regulations and making sure, and they're proving that, listen, things might happen, but it's not because we are sleeping on the job. It just means that the criminals are getting smarter at what they're doing, and so forth. But we have shown where, like for me, when I came in insurance, the amount of paper I used to write up is small. I just need somebody ID and them ID and them source of payment. Now the amount of other papers and know your client stuff that I have to go through just for any new client, just for any client, full stop, even a repeat
Yeah.
one, it does have that impact. In as much as it annoys me, I know that greater good is that it makes our financial industry stop getting scrutinized, because people, their cards, there are times when you can't use a Jamaican, you couldn't, sorry, use a Jamaican credit card on foreign sites sometimes because of us being, on that gray list as such. But that is changing, or has changed a lot. So, on a whole, especially coming out of, like, the financial crash in 2008, that time period, we've had more regulations, and I think most of the financial institutions out here are doing a pretty good job of keeping the people in check. Human nature, people are gonna try to thief things. It's
Oh yeah,
simple
but
as
we
that
need to
everywhere.
make it hard,
Yeah.
and there needs to be
Mhm.
deterrents so that if
Mhm.
you know that the likelihood of you getting caught is really high,
Mhm.
then you're
Yeah,
not going to try
that's
to
it.
touch the kitty.
Yeah,
You
because
might
I
you
tell
might
people,
think
say,
twice.
I tell people, say, bad for bad is not Jamaica. You find a Ponzi, and it's not here, so you find Bernie Madoff.
We've
Bad.
had,
We've
excuse me,
had people.
we've had Ponzi's, and I've known of quite a few.
Yes, but those Ponzi's
Made
outside.
of though was on a different level. I am sorry. I watched that documentary on
Bernie
Netflix, and I was
Madoff
like,
with billions. Bernie Madoff with billions. But what I would say is, and I'm not going to call them name, but plus, to our credit, they were caught. Them and the whatever
let's
minister or
move
whatever.
on. Let's.
They were held. So as I said, the system is working. They were held and everything. And every ever so often, people are gonna pop up with these things. But the truth is, I think on a whole, our financial sector, in terms of regulations and regulatory action, they do put out a lot of effort at
I hear
that.
that.
You understand? I wish they
We'll
put
watch
up
the
some.
space.
Yeah.
We'll watch the space because we'll see what else is coming out and how things are evolving. But I want to also ask you about Marlon, the politician, because I find Jamaican politics, especially bipartisan politics, so
Uh,
interesting. And we've made
yeah.
progress because once upon a time, you
You
couldn't dare put
know.
on a green shirt and go in a orange
No way.
zone and vice versa. You know what I
And
mean?
vice versa.
But that is changing. And what I'd say to people is, you see, all of these people in politics, they went to school together and they're friends. Don't they all of them went to school together, and I know this because I went to school with them, and they're And I'm gonna leave it there.
No, you can't. The truth is, no. Listen, I I would say this. And it's public knowledge. Some of my very close friends are on a different political yeah, they're on the other side of political friends as me. In fact, I dare say the majority of my closest friends are like that. But and we all met at UA and we are friends. I think for me
Thank you
is
very much.
we we have different ideas. We know the destination we want to reach with Jamaica in terms of where Jamaica should be. We might have a different idea about how to get there, as
Hmm.
such. But what I know
Is it
for a
really
fact,
that different, Marlon? Is it
it,
really
it,
that different in terms of
it
the
really
ideas,
is.
in terms of how you want to get there?
I think there are in terms of how we see it, from a historical perspective. From a historical perspective, and this might be, I'm gonna confess, this might be simplifying it. Um, One party has always thought about empowering the owners of the means of production, and that should send the prosperity or whatever down. The other part believes in empowering everybody at the ground, and that should
From the
bring the,
ground up.
yeah,
Yeah.
ground up. So it's differently how you see it. I think both parties right now, none of the parties can claim to be either left or right, really. At one point the JLP was
Hmm.
seen as being very right and the PNP is seen as being very left. I think we are both centrist
Kind of
now.
sent, yeah.
Centrist, leaning left or leaning right. That's what I see it as. There, we're centric. Both parties are centrist. One still leans right, one still leans left, but they're really more into the middle. It's almost like what I think the Labour Party in the UK looks like to me right now. Labour Party look very centrist, slightly lean left, but I think I think people are becoming, at least hopefully, they're becoming a lot more wiser to 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 politics on a whole. And you say, everybody are friends, but my worry is that with this wiser to politics comes an apathy that,
Mm.
because our voting numbers have gone down, the
Yeah.
percentage of votes, it keeps steadily going down. And I don't want people to reach the point where they think that, I hate when people feel hopeless, because when people feel hopeless, they don't act. I would rather the people be
Yeah.
angry. People who are angry act,
Because they're
you
feeling
know?
something. But that's
Yeah.
interesting because we recently had the elections here in the UK and
Hmm.
I didn't go to the polls. It is because I struggled to
Hmm.
understand the what does it mean for me and mine, and not now, but more so long term. I really
Uh,
struggled with that. And then when I figured out what it might mean, I didn't feel as
yeah.
though voting for
It,
what might have been the best option for me would even be viable, because it's still heavily bipartisan in a sense. You always have two dominant parties who are likely to win. And if you're not thinking of
Tories and
voting for
Labour.
those,
Mhm.
exactly, if you're not thinking of voting for those, then it almost feels like what's the point? Which I guess is hopelessness in a sense.
But what I would say to that is that, if there, because what we might find, what's funny, like, let's use Jamaica's last voting turnout. Last voter turnout, even though market, this was in the middle of COVID in 2020, so it might not be a fully reflective. So let's use the voter turnout before, in 2016, when all conditions were, fine. It was about 40%. It was about 40% split between two major parties, right? And the popular
Wow.
vote in itself, yeah, it's 40% split between two major parties. The popular vote was pretty close, same way at the end of the day. But what that says is that there's 60% of people who are sitting down that felt hopeless. And the problem is, what those 60% don't, they keep thinking that it's them alone. So you're sitting there thinking, it's me alone. But you are part of a 60% that could literally have blown
Swing
away
things. Absolutely.
all and for a third party. So I don't know where you were leaning. In fact, if I go look over the big parties, maybe I can figure, say, oh, yeah, things that, because I don't know if Keir Starmer is would probably grab your attention, as such. I know, I don't. And then when you're looking at at what the Conservative Party comes with, I don't see you liking that either. So so is which one of those third parties that did appeal to you?
I
More
think I'll
people
move
have to
on.
go. Yeah, more people have to understand, say, here what, I might not be a voice by myself, but me and all the rest of people who feel like me. And I promise you this, I bet you if you find more and more people going with some of the other third parties somewhere or the other, just creating, just shifting. They might not win, there might just be a one seat winning now, but it will be enough of an alarm to the major
Yeah.
parties to say, hey, maybe we need to start listening to what these
Or or
persons, let's
or
say.
even something that might mobilize the other 60%. And
Mhm.
since we're on politics, and I know that you are, so you're an interesting person, right? Because you just love Jamaica. So
I do, I
you
do, I
love
do.
Jamaica. I don't see you as somebody who's gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna leave Jamaica anytime
I
soon.
My brother and sister live overseas.
Yeah.
My brother and sister, they live overseas. I'm here. I leave Jamaica to have a little fun in carnivals and so forth. Like me run go Barbados end of this month for crop over. That's the other thing I do. I might hop in Miami for Miami Carnival later on this year. That I will
You
do,
just
you
love
know.
carnival, so
And that's so forth. And thing. I might go visit my brother in New Orleans. I I'm not going to live anywhere else. And unless something worse now that my child is here in Jamaica, worse now that my child is here in Jamaica, I'm not going to go. So I don't see myself moving. So yeah, but you were saying, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
because okay, couple of things though, because you went really viral when I saw the videos. Like, yeah, this is so Marlon. When you
Mhm.
spoke about how Jamaicans are, we are really a
Yeah.
living paradox, right? And when
Can
you
you
brought that
imagine?
to, yeah, it's true, but that's just
Mm,
who Jamaicans are. What
mm,
are your thoughts on people who, like me, right?
mm,
We've got dual citizenship. And if I said, because a lot of really talented people who love Jamaica have left Jamaica for different reasons. If
mm.
these people are coming back home and they're like, you know what, I'm back, I'm home, I'm ready to serve. I don't want anything. I just want to give back. What are your thoughts on these people who want to be in politics, but they're being told to serve in office, you need to get rid of your citizenship, your dual
Um,
citizenship. You need to be Jamaican and only Jamaican. What are your thoughts on that?
for me, it's a tricky one. Let me show you why. It's legal at a Commonwealth level, which means you won't have a problem. You are
Okay, I'm
fine.
coming home.
Technically, you don't have a problem because that's a Commonwealth, you know. You don't have a problem because of the Commonwealth and so forth. So even somebody who Bajan Jamaican from Barbados could come serve, because well, Barbados is no longer part of the Commonwealth, I
They're a
believe. They're a
republic.
republic now, yeah.
Yeah.
But coming out of a country like that, that's a commonwealth, you legally you can. I think the debacle that we were having recently was whether or not questioning whether or not, because Mr. Golden wanted to is aspiring to be prime minister, whether or not as prime minister you can have a dual citizenship.
So
That
it's
is the
not if you're
question.
serving generally, it's as
Not
prime
for
minister
serving, is
specifically.
as prime minister specifically is the question, because um we can point to persons who, there are persons in parliament who might have a next citizenship. I'm not going to call them names for legal reasons, but they have Commonwealth citizenship elsewhere, and it's not an issue. I think what has happened is that we've made a political football out of this to try and score some points, and it's going to have a proper backlash on a lot of persons, both sides, because the truth is, let's say my brother with U.S. citizenship, me know him don't feel like him is a U.S. person. You ask him when he's a Jamaican, you see, and we know why people have dual citizenship sometimes. For me personally, and this is me personally, I am of two minds when it comes to allowing a parliamentarian to have dual citizenship,
So you've gone a
because
step further. You're saying a parliamentarian as opposed to just
yeah,
the prime minister.
yeah, because you pick the prime minister from parliamentarians.
Okay.
so
Got you.
so what
But
I'm
then,
going to
but
do,
then you would be
yeah.
nixing it then. You'd be nixing it because if you're saying parliamentarians can't have dual citizenship, you're basically saying your prime minister just needs to be a Jamaican, full stop.
No, but I'm saying that's the crux of it, because for me originally I say, all right, suppose everybody agrees, say, here what? As long as you're a prime minister of the country, you can't have a dual citizenship. And everybody say, yeah. But then you say, but then the prime minister comes from parliamentarians. So should that then mean that parliamentarians shouldn't have, or should it be a case of as soon as you run for it, if you do win, you get rid of it, or what? I mean, how big a price it is for you? Do you think it's a huge price to pay? Is it nothing? So it is legal, but the question I think a lot of people brought up is whether or not it basically it looked good. That is what the question was. People were like, yo, sure, other people have it, but they're not trying to get this office. And I think recently Mr. Golden said that, I mean, upon listening to the people and what the people are saying, he said, all right, cool, I'll renounce it, you know? But that's a case of because you, the people, want it as such. It's not illegal for him to have it.
And
But
and and let's go even a step further then. So we're speaking about the dual citizenship piece. What do you think about Jamaica as a republic? Because we have a really checkered relationship with Britain. We being Jamaica. What are your thoughts on
long
Jamaica going the
overdue.
same route that Barbados?
Long,
Why do you think it's long
long,
overdue?
long overdue. Long overdue. We cannot say that we are self-governing and we're still on the Queen's, or in this case, the King's coattails. What does Britain do for us?
But that's what I'm saying. It's merely ceremonial, right? Because
Yeah,
outside of having the
it's
Governor General who's there,
it's
what
ceremonial up to the point where the Governor General have this big house right down there with how much acres of land that should be a public park, so that the Kingston people and Kingston could have a nice green space. Or even if you don't use all of it for a green space, what is your purpose? We have to pay him every year, etc., and all them things there. And are we going to say the purpose is the Privy Council? It cannot be the Privy Council. Jamaican jurors, Caribbean jurors are some of the most brilliant jurists in the world. So brilliant that rulings that they have given, positions that they have given, have been adopted across the rest of the Commonwealth. So I'm not dunce them good enough to be that in final appellate court. So why are we holding on to Britain? And then also my thing is simply this: with the heritage of slavery that we have had, one of the ways mentally to step away from it is not to be saying things like Queen's Council and King's Council. Why are we still serving behind the coattails of Britain? In fact, we need to be a real Republican. We need to send a nice strong letter and say, Britain, send back some of the money where you take
you
from
want
me.
the reparation?
We want reparations now. No, if not before. Because you cannot tell me that the conditions of black people are not a result of what has happened during slavery, when the conditions of white people and the
How
cities them have
how
is
do
a
you
result.
how do you quantify what the reparations look like?
Um, how do you quantify it? You can't just be, for me, it can't just be a finance, a money thing. It cannot be. What we suffered was a neutering of the scope of growth and thing. And a lot of people, the fear that them have is that they must say, oh, money is all go to governments and governments are going to use it and done. It has to be technological exchange, things like that, and so forth. And forgiving. They can start by forgiving all debts. Forgive all debts that Caribbean countries and other countries that were part of the British Empire have. Forgive all the debts that they have. Any debt we have, if I know you will owe it to somebody else, take it, remove it. Like we start with a clean. Let countries start with a clean slate. You see me? Because there's this idea, I think, that they keep going over this idea that countries, that the black Caribbean countries cannot rule themselves. And this is not true. It's not that mafia try and make them way through the world with this big albatross of debt on them back. Because every dollar that Jamaica making, every dollar that we make, a large part of it is going towards debt servicing. So just forgiving the debts would be a big step forward, I believe, Phoebe. I think that just forgiving the debts that a lot of these countries owe, and leave countries to go and do them things and stop meddling at them business. Stop meddling in the business of countries. Countries like Grenada where US meddling up. People them say, yo, the prime minister we are work with, and you send troops, leave countries, make them determine them own way. If them go so and them get this something to determine them own way and they mess it up, then you can always say, hey, see it there. But I strongly believe that if we are left to our own devices, we will do well. I think so.
Yeah.
But
Do you think we've leveraged? Do you think we've leveraged? Because you say if we're left to our own devices, we'll do well. The other day I was just scrolling, as you do, and this man was speaking about the fact that he went into a shop to buy some nuts, and the man said, "Where you come from?" Obviously, he didn't say it in Patois. Says like a Turkish guy apparently. Where are you from? And the guy said that he was Jamaican, and the man said that it's his dream to come to Jamaica. And he's never been to Jamaica, and he would not take the money from the man for the nuts. And the guy said he put the money on the counter and the man put it back in his pocket. Do you think we've leveraged brand Jamaica in the way that we should be leveraging it?
We have not.
And because I live in the UK and I see a lot of stuff on the shelves. And it says made in Jamaica, but I look at it and I know, because I used to work with the GMA, right? As a part of that Buy Jamaica and Build Jamaica campaign. And I look on the things that are on our shelves, and people will even say to you, you have the British rum and the Jamaican rum. So you've got people in the UK who refuse to buy the rum that's here unless it has a Jamaican flag on it. So my question to you is, what are we doing, from a political point of view, just generally to leverage brand Jamaica and ensure that we have rights to what is one of the most powerful brands in the world? First thing, we can't have a ministry of sports, entertainment, gender equality. Cannot have a ministry like that. So wait, what happened to culture? And culture, that's my point. Okay. You can't have a ministry that have all of those under it. You need to have a minister of sports, exclusively sports. You need to have a ministry of entertainment, exclusively entertainment. And in fact, guess what? I will even mix sports and culture. Not sports and entertainment, as it seems like actually entertainment and culture. Let's do entertainment and culture under one ministry. I love entertainment and culture. I think it makes sense. Together. It makes sense together because it ties in. And then what we need is Jamper needs to be expanded and strengthened, right? Jamper needs to be expanded and strengthened, and Jamper need, in fact, turn it into, I don't want to say a ministry, but it needs to have as much power as a ministry, and it needs to have the legal type of backing so it can go. And everything we say Jamaica, if it's not Jamaica, we are suing. And we need to try and find, we get a global demarcation, the kind of like what you have with champagne. You can't name champagne if you come from Champagne. You understand? Things like that. Our brand is so big and we do not exploit it at all. Me feel say we need to have that sort of the proper Jamaican flag on it, and we should have a constant check to make sure say, okay, this is a fake or whatever. And we can hike the price. Sell it more expensive than anything else. We don't care. The brand will take it. We cannot allow people. The word jerk cannot be used on something if it don't come from Jamaica. Cannot say jerk. And them things that I don't want to see a jerk sauce we're making a Cincinnati or in a Bristol. I don't care. Well, what we got? And see, so you cannot, in my opinion, you have to have things where from it name certain things, it's strictly Jamaican and it's protected like that. You understand? We're wasting money, man. As for the entertainment, oh God. Wow, are we still recording? Enjoyed this episode of How Did You Get There with Marlon? Then tune in for part 2 wherever you watch or listen to your podcasts.